Whoa, what have we here? A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
True, they never cleaned up the war damage. The rest of Revachol looks better, though. The bridge is fine enough. Locals use it all the time, after all. It's nothing to worry about. Shall we?
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? By love, you did.
Fast, observantly, like an electronic printer.
Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. I am glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Freighter?
How about you share your information on the lynching, now that you've seen his badge?
The goalposts have moved, Lieutenant. In the absence of the badge, I have informed my employer there will be a probe. I cannot rescind that promise. To my knowledge, the drivers are still at the roundabout. I will tell you everything I know when you've finished with them. I am glad to hear that, because let me tell you, we are in dire waters. The sooner the probe is finished, the sooner I can share crucial information with you. Now, is there anything I can do for you in the meanwhile? Tea, perhaps? Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivachol West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenel, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. It is very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Seraï's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath. Too many things have already gone wrong. Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. All we can do is keep that which is not from following suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. I wouldn't go as far as to use that term, detective.
It's the expression she objects to.
Yes.
She picked a strange hill to die on. Strike. She's silent.
What is the purpose of this, detective?
Paramilitary death squad is a bit rich. But yes, were it up to me, I would have at least vetted them more thoroughly. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations. Their database is the single largest source of information in the world.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course, Detective.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM. The box seems happy.
Yes, for sending mail.
You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug, Everard. You know he's going to play you somehow.
All right, let's go back to Everard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
Looking for something?
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you! Things are busy enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
The hulking man oozes stark skepticism.
Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here. You understand?
It just has to be said, that was not a convincing line.
fucking loincloth.
Loincloth? Now you see, that's not really what a scab would say, is it? Better not to press the issue further, sire. He seems tense.
Fucking bug.
I'm going to interpret that as a yes. There's a tribunal, and it won't be long until it's ready.
How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's trying to get his right-to-work dance back on.
Hola, Wandering Man.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
The file cabinet stands steady as ever, and the unlocked drawer slides out to greet you. The drawer slides You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? Most certainly, Harry. By all means, Harry. What's on your mind? The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. Of course. I already knew this. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a real future, Harry, and I feel I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun, nothing is off the table.
Judging from how happy he is, it looks like you did it. He doesn't appear to suspect trickery. Well done, sire. By guile and deceit, you're in.
Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy. the one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling your gun like that? Wild. Anyway, the neighbours of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debarders Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building. As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt.
We might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs.
There it is again. The pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast. The one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
Harry, by now you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving, well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces.
He proudly spreads his hands to demonstrate the size of the palaces. They're very large.
So the village is doomed.
You were there, you saw the place. A wasteland. There's nothing left. But mark my words, officers. We are going to reset it. Reset. I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. Harry, imagine a youth centre supermarket church complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. Yes, I do. I got the centre, I got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years, I'll get the church too. The wheels are already turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on.
But will there be giant statues of the Clear brothers towering above it all? Joyce knew he was up to something.
I'm not a symbolist, Harry. I'm a realist. My statue will be Martinez rebuilt. 5-story building complexes, workers on welfare, and landowners in Azon hating me. That will be my statue. And yours. We're doing this together. Damn right I am, Harry. I'm gonna make the working man as rich as she is one day. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace. I did not, Harry. Although I am very, very glad he's dead. Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. I have. It's a great story, Harry. Did you also know how the bee colony kills the giant hornet? They swarm and blanket it entirely until it suffers a massive heat stroke and dies. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. You're not an ultra-liberal, Harry. Get the fuck out of here. Don't be a retard. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. It's already happening. 2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything. We've been running back channel negotiations with all the major clients. I think the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams.
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samarin Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column.
In bulk shipping, large volume column is a major buyer, a shark.
We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his Benefed and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
and the kids on the street can get speed and Pirelli done.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share, and I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez.
He's basically admitting to it.
Yes, of course. And while you're doing that, please go ahead and also tell the Wild Pines. I want to hear them squeal from the indignity.
Nothing in his features betrays any concern.
Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight. Harry, the future I have in store for Martinez will have all the macho aesthetics you love so much. The crowns, the guns. I will even slip in a skull and bones for you, my friend.
Oh yeah, skull and bones. Skull and bones on a Revacholian flag. The Revacholian Death Squad. Oh yeah, the visual image has completely bedazzled you. You're 100% with Everard now.
We're way past specific Union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry.
There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big-time mode.
Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debardeurs Union. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. Ah, yes. Your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Actually, Revachol doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him.
I'm always happy to educate and entertain you, my friend. Very nice, Harry.
Hey, mister. I knew he'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself. Mr. Evrat doesn't really want me to talk to people about union guys. But who did you want to talk about? Mr. Edgar is Mr. Evrat's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does, but a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some union business. Not even in Revachol, they say. All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on a vacation. Right now, it's Mr. Everett's turn to look after the union. But last year he spent a whole winter in South Africa. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again.
South Safra. A lot of bulk chemical manufacturing going on there. A lot of cargo shipments being made, too. The trade must have been lucrative for the trip to be so long.
He's a union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Everett sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better. Whoa, he's really something. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some union men. I think he really believes Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that. Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice friendly sort old Titus is.
He's probably one of those rare specimens who are born when two drunk seamen stumble on top of each other on the deck amidst a storm so violent it flings whales around.
I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Everett would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. The Night Guard. Ooh, he's a peculiar fellow. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Renee. They lived on the same street their entire lives, even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Strange fellows. Mr. Martin was always real nice to me in school. I remember once. Mr. Martin, yes. Don't really remember much about him. I was just a boy back then. Sure, mister. What can Leo do for you?
All are wondering, man.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back. The packages are small, discreet, sloppily stacked, making them easier to take unnoticed. No need to worry about knocking over a display.
What is what? It's a raincoat. If you want to buy one, then it's only 4 real.
Her attention is drawn to the raincoats. Stealing one undetected will now be more difficult. The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk into the machine.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat ass of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Oh, sweet Jenny. She was the finest woman in all of Revachol. Maybe the entire world.
Do not defile her memory, Gaston. Let her rest in peace.
We knew her, all right. Lived on the same street our entire lives, just 2 houses apart. The 3 of us have been best friends since we were 4. She was René's first girl, back when the prick was 16. They were courting till he decided he'd rather die for some great ideal than just be happy.
And then you stole her from me.
Oh, officer. It already got ugly nearly 80 years ago when the 3 of us were just learning to walk and talk.
You stole her from me.
Well, technically, you stole her from me, because we'd been pretty close ever since you two had that falling out over the ink you spilled over her pretty yellow dress.
We were just boys then. This was different. You... No point starting this all over again. For the 1000th and the first time. Especially when we have company. Officer.
She died of pneumonia 2 winters ago. It was a quiet passage. Peaceful. René and I were both by her bedside when she...
Died. No use sugarcoating it. Won't bring her back. Will it now?
departed. Until the very end she couldn't decide between us. The most indecisive woman I've ever met. She could never make up her mind about anything. What to have for breakfast, favorite color, or which one of us to marry. She was always leaving one of us for the other, but never long enough to actually get married. Heck, technically, we're both still engaged to her.
You always confused her. Couldn't let us be happy. Seduced her with your fancy words and pastries.
Of course, officer. Memories are all we have left. Sweet, sweet Jenny. Ask away, officer. I knew her all. Of course, officer. Memories are all... Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week. But that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry. And I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
He means caviar socialists.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here.
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
So Gaston taught both Easy Leo and the Clare brothers.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. There he stands, proud, rigid and alone, like a cracking marble statue.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh, yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
So that's what it was before. Him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union, and now the illusion is disintegrating before your and René's eyes. He doesn't know anything, because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavain. turns the way the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate the socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence, never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Everhart and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's just the way things work around here. No reason to feel bad about it. I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not really something I involve myself in, officer. Officer, I have a vivid imagination. And like I said, I have a way with words. That's enough. No need to sink into politics.
He just fluffs it up.
Of course. Don't sink into anything. Don't sink into any fight. Only sink into your couch.
I prefer highly adaptable myself. Have a better ring to hit, don't you think?
Oh, mon Dieu.
I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. I believe everyone has the right to think and do whatever they want, even if it's nothing at all. I'm very adaptable.
Oh, mon Dieu.
I don't even consider myself a regular, just easier that way. Besides, life isn't as black and white as René's of the world tried to make it seem. It's all shades of grey, really.
Oh, mon Dieu.
No, thank you. For being consummate professionals. You'll have this case wrapped up in no time. I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder. Well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, you notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things. Fuck off! It's mine!
A glimmer of respect flashes in René's eyes.
Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
And it's gone.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? You're a special kind of vermin, Gaston. Officer! God damn it. Pull yourself together, René. What do you want? There's nothing for you to understand here. It is not her death you are investigating. Absolutely not. She died of pneumonia in her bed at the age of 79. This is highly usual. Revachol fair of 91 in the Faubourg district. A parade was held to honor Guillaume Le Lion's name day, and the Carabineers marched in the place of honor. This was the happiest day of my life. I was 22 when I returned from King Guillaume's Akira operation in the south and found my sweetheart in the arms of this wretch.
The Akira operation was a 7-year campaign, during which suzerain Guillaume's army forcefully united the people in the southeastern part of La Petite Continent, collectively known as the Akira tribes under the Revacholian banner.
I won her back, but while I was dealing with some issues.
You were like a dark cloud sucking the joy out of every living thing around you. And you hurt her. Those days and memories are gone.
The old soldier says nothing, but when his glance quickly runs over Gaston's face, there's an odd look in his eyes.
You're back. Good. What would you like to know? Good. Of course. Of course.
Don't tell her you've met Everard right away. There's time. She's not even asking you anything. It's so easy to just say.
Of course, Detective. You can always drop by later. What we do.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines, and that is...
The Wild Pines group is one. She nods.
Of course. I am sorry. More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air.
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And its pale antipode.
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough. There is a term of endearment they coined for it in the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included. Elysium. It does. There are those who would call it hell. A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petro-fascists. Oh, you want a picture of the world? There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit. Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways. We used to think it was a sphere, but that is beginning to look less and less likely by the day. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s.
ORG, Occident Revachol Grad.
There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three scientific contributors, they're piecing together a dark grey corona. Yes. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are grey flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago.
A cold fear seeps into you.
They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swathes of land disrupted by nothingness. I am sorry, dear. It must sound quite terrifying through the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here. But this is one of the greatest questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound. You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it. See? Everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities.
The cold seeps into you. The air is heavy with 80% humidity. Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there, on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides. The lieutenant observes you both, silently. He adjusts his glasses.
The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality.
Yes. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. Remember, we have a cadaver to attend to.
Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else. I don't think your colleague would appreciate that. He has already been so patient with this whole exercise. Let's continue with something else, all right? You can ask about anything else in the world. Anything.
You could sneak back later when the lieutenant is not here, unless you can convince him to step aside. Is what you want to do. But should you? He expressly stated you shouldn't hear about it. What if it renders you mad? Or catatonic? Or makes you lose your memory again?
Yes? Glad to have been of assistance.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow It never happens. Does anyone in a city like this? It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all.
The inspiration will come to her once hell is set loose on the streets. It's too calm right now.
Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
Give me a moment. Ask away. Oh.
An old call box with an East Delta Commerce Center. This must be the name of the doomed commercial area.
Kuno's like Kuno's dad? Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything. Kuno doesn't...
Our tenant, the policeman.
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk.
We should ask that girl on the ice what's going on here.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on! Get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshy tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says,
Hardcore! It's hardcore! Skibbity, skibber danger. I am the rearranger.
Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think? You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There is definitely something futuristic about his hair, aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic, yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic, like this guy. His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
An egghead. Egg! Together with a Cell Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
I will, lawman.
Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast. I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads! Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol. Strike that! The world! And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Could be. We don't know for sure, but we do know they are spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that. Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man. He's a quiet man, mostly communicates through music, and by being a master of ceremonies. You know, a host, a declaimer of slogans. He's a performer, gets the people going.
Interesting, sire. A bit like you, then. An MC for short.
Well, he's just kind of here. I don't really know how to communicate with him. Yeah, sometimes. When I stumble and find my way into his centre, you have to hear a lot of hardcore to the mega first though.
The man smiles mysteriously, choosing to let the beat speak for itself. I get it. He's a puzzle.
Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
You know, of Meteo, concerning Meteo. Meteo, a country, on Muindi, on the Muindi Isla.
One of the poorest of the first world nations today, but once a great ancient civilization. Capital, Tilakos by Percentic.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericanassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, made the Innocentic system, no? Totally. The Pericanassian Church is about love, and Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericanassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance! Love is hardcore! Unity! Unity! Make some noise for my Insulindian posse!
You feel it, the anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
Your posse's like your people, man. Like you got your cup posse. You look out for each other and you party together. That's a posse.
And where is your posse, detective? Nothing comes to you. The world is silent.
Are we? Yeah! yeah, it can. He's coming around. You're getting it.
Feels good.
Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving. You feel like you could go for a little disco when, or if, they get this club going. You've got it in you.
Yes. What? Yeah, good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water. Oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
Ether? I don't smell ether. Do you, Noid?
No.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. It doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. They look and act like the kind of guys who've done their fair share. However, their breathing is regular, their jaws stay put and their pupils aren't dilated. So, not under the influence right now. At least, not under the influence of stimulants. That doesn't rule out hallucinogens, benzos, some depressants. How do you know all this?
The what now? Oh, the old Ultra.
He's like an actor, looking to the souffleur for his line.
I have a major sinus infection, stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter, can't even breathe. Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Nosafed is the shit.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses. Well, there's also the machinery. When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
Andre, tell him about the feeling. Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark. No, the other one. Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg. Felt like silence. Awful silence. Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church a couple of times. And we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it. Like you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human, as in a ghost? Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man. Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab. It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behaviour.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures and not known for climbing walls.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. A cell was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
So he hasn't even been in there lately. Is he afraid?
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
There probably is no crab man. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely. Well, honestly, I can't, but I am.
This is a below-feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
Hey now, I'm 70% sure they're substance abusers. Don't let all that technology fool you. Where do you think the drugs come from? Sure. What? I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. A padlock. It's a temporary fix. Just something to contain the situation. I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while. Of course. Noid, give the officer the key. Only if he promises to look into the spookers in the church. Officer, I apologise. Noid doesn't always understand the joy of giving for the sake of giving. I think it may have something to do with his childhood.
Damn it. Take it. Don't you just want to see what's in there?
Brilliant! Noid, the key! All right.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly. The young man with ribcage-shaped suspenders looks at you, standing there, with a goofy grin on your face. The word august, used as an adjective, that's how cool it feels to be old and cool in the eyes of the young. Let's face it, you're near death, yet bathed in the golden rays of stately grandeur, like a late summer's day, like a daddy-o.
Not long, like a week maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on, I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive in their entire lives. I don't know. What does anything mean, really?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you'd get it. You're one smart cop.
He nods attentively, ready to answer the questions of one smart cop.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
Wow, so someone's been a little boring. Yes, my Standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown. Of course you do. Let's get right to it. My lord's copper type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax. Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class even, a nation of regular law officials that you belong to. It comes, of course, with the usual benefits. Done and done. No actual communiques will be sent, of course. That would be too dramatic.
So you had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Noid. Good. It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading. Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align. See? Our signs are way off. I can already tell this social relationship is gonna take a lot of work. Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural.
The People's Republic of Samara is a product of Revishal's sister revolution on the Grand Isola. It's known as a severely degenerated rogue state.
I know, man. I was just talking about the aesthetic. Nothing's wrong with it. You should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it, though. Most of it doesn't exist, but there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist, because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff. The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment. Yeah, I suck at socialising, man. Even now, our sign synchronisation is way off. But I'll see what I can do.